Don't you hate when you load up Geos? Do you want to do some serious work like balance your budget, do a spreadsheet, write a letter, something along those lines, and then you look up and see the time and date and you think, oh man, I got to go manually change that again. Well, let's look at how to fix that. If you're a Turbo Chameleon user, the feature you may not know you have an RTC or a real-time clock. All you have to do is add a battery, and it uses a CR1220 battery, 3-volt battery. Take your case apart. This is a version 1. I'm sure version 2 Turbo Chameleon, the battery's probably in the same place or very similar place. The bottom off. Take the top off. And there's your socket for the battery. That side down, turn it side up. Just pop it in. And that's it. And you put your case back together. Should snap back in place. Mine's a little damaged. I probably pried it open improperly at one point here. When you open these, don't pry open at this point. Do it from the back. Especially do not do it from this side. The plastic's a little weak there, at least on the version 1s. Alright, let's pop her back in. Alright, let's get her back together. City improper time here. Default with that core. Let's go into options. RTC settings, that's real-time clock settings. Okay, we have a time. It's currently about 8:09 p.m. So in military that'd be 20:09. Seconds are fine. One thing on the date. In the US we use a date code of month, day, year. This is created, Turbo Chameleon is created in Germany. Over there, they do it a little bit different. They do date, month, year. So we have a date of the 29th January 2023. And that should do it. Let's power cycle it and see if it's saved. My capture hardware gives a little delay. There we go. And there we go. We have the current time and date. All right. Let's take the SD card out. Pop your SD card into whatever kind of reader you have. Okay, you're going to want to find a file called GeoCam64 RTC. You can find that on csdb.dk. So go ahead and download that. Go to your download folder. Open up your SD card. Put it somewhere on there, like here I have this folder set up for Geos. And this is a D64, which is a 1541 image, a standard Commodore 5 1/4 floppy disk image. Copy that over to your SD card. Okay. And eject the SD card to be safe, and then go back to your Commodore. Okay, let's set this up to launch Geos. Let's go into options here. Now we won't do anything with turbo for now. Let's go into drive settings. Okay, we have device 8 is device 1 is ID 8, write protection off. Device drive 2 is device ID 9, that's good. Write protect off. Update mounted images always. Still an extra step, which I'll show you in a little bit. So those are good. Okay, let's see here. Let's go back. File browser. Hold on. That's rare, but that sometimes happens. Either the SD wasn't all the way in or something, but just take it out, put it back in. Let's go into Geos folder we had. Now this Geos 64.d64, like I mentioned, D64 is a 1541 image. It's the Turbo Chameleon has a true drive emulator, so that disk image, the computer sees it as a real floppy drive. Anyhow, Commodore key M to mount it. We'll mount it as device 1, which is drive 8. Now the GeoCam 64 RTC, we're going to mount that. Commodore key M to drive 2. Okay, let's back out and go to basic. I have JiffyDos on this, but since this is a demonstration, I'm just going to use long form commands. You want to see a directory, load $, comma 8, no comma anything else, just comma 8. Then list, get a directory. Geos is what we want to load. If the program you want to load is the first in the directory, you don't have to type out the whole thing. You just go ahead and load an asterisk. And you want to do comma 8 with comma 1 or anything, but it's got to be comma something. And this load time won't be too bad. If you have a Turbo Chameleon, I would recommend getting JiffyDos. It makes it a lot faster. It's pretty compatible. I have a physical JiffyDos ROM with a switch. I didn't want to drill into this case, but yeah, I can switch this on and off. Some programs, specifically games with custom fast load routines, sometimes don't like JiffyDos, so you can just shut it off and it'll go back to stock ROM, but works really well with Geos. You can probably buy an overlay also. You can just put it inside on the SD card with a certain name and it'll load, but I'd recommend a physical ROM myself. If you're wondering, and haven't seen one of these Tom adapters are pretty nice. You can use USB mice on it. Also has a pass-through for a joystick, but you can use USB mice, and it does not have to be a USB mouse that has PS2 protocol. The Tom Plus actually can just use standard USB mice, not ones that use the PS2 protocol. You can also unplug that and use USB modern game pads. Okay, we're in. And as you see, the time and date's still wrong, but we're going to fix that. Double click that. Now you see this. Programs outside of the Geos ecosystem are in one format. It has to be converted to another format. and you use the convert program for that. I believe on all Geos 2.0 and up, that convert format is by default on the system disk. Pretty sure about that, but if you try and you don't, yeah, let's back out of here for a second. Let's look. Oh. We should have a convert in here. Yeah, see, there you go, convert. So you might want to look and make sure you have convert on your system disk. And then you can go here, go back into disk 2, and it's asking, do you want to convert it? Yes, you do want to convert it because you need to convert it to Geos format. Okay, and you might as well launch it once. You really don't have to at this point. Might as well though. And sometimes that first not this says it's been updated. Sometimes that first one will be incorrect. So let's see if it gets it correct. But once you put it on the system disk and reboot, it's definitely right. Yep, and it got it right. So you see, the time has been updated. But that's a one time. If you just load that program, then it's a one time. But we want it to do it automatically when we boot up. So let's click once, then wait a second and click again. Now you can drag and drop this over to the system disk. And now it's copying. However, that's a temporary copy. There's one more step. If you were to power off right now, you would lose that. Go ahead and push down and hold the center button for several seconds. Then let go. Get into the menu, and you can see it's actually saving the disk image. That's actually kind of a nice feature. So if you're doing something and you mess up, it's not forever. It's not forever until you go ahead back in the menu. And now that's done. We're all done now. We should be able to reboot. Go into Geos. And the time should be automatically updated. Oops. A little bit of a mistake. Let's go back in here. Let's go into File Browser, Geos, and let's only mount to Geos 64. That's all we need right now. Another load procedure. I'll probably leave this in. I'm not a big fan of jump cuts. I only do minimum. Like I was talking about, since we have time, talking about the Tom Plus, that's pretty nice. There's also one called Jerry, but that one requires a USB mouse that uses PS2 protocols. And that load was pretty fast. And hey, look, there you go. The time is now updated, so the real-time clock driver is installed, and every time you load into Geos now, it'll work. And it doesn't matter if you're using a disk image or if you have an actual hard drive link or however you have your Geos, you do the same thing. You just move that file over to the system disk, whatever the system disk. And if you have wheels, which is also known as Geos 4, that'll work also. Anyhow, that's about it. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. And let me know if you like these kind of how-tos. I'm hoping it's helpful for somebody. So if I get validation, that would really help make me do more how-tos. Anyhow, thanks again. See you in the next.